Welcome to another edition of the Basic Thoughtonomics podcast. I'm your host, Chris Grosso, and first I just want to say I hope everyone's doing okay. Everyone's healthy and safe during this time. Hope everyone's doing okay mentally as well, because this is a time unlike any other that we're living in. With and I know the term is social distancing, but I like to use the term physical distancing that's going on. I think social distancing, some people might interpret it the wrong way, might think you're cutting off socialization in general. And I know that might sound a little extreme, but yeah, I prefer to use the term physical distancing because I feel that's really what the medical experts want us to do, is to physically distance. And so, yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay mentally during this time. I just hope everyone's keeping busy, staying happy, staying connected with family and friends and loved ones. Hope everyone's being productive, whether you're working from home or you're not working at all, which is the case with me right now. So I'm just trying to stay busy, pick up some new hobbies. I've been reading more, writing, doing some journaling. So I just hope people are staying busy and trying to better themselves, whether it's picking up a new skill or taking up a new hobby. Something just in that nature, just doing something different. But I'm sure, we also should use this time for leisure as well and doing stuff we enjoy. And I know binge watching is something that a lot of people are probably doing during this time. And I haven't gotten into Tiger King yet. I know that's all the rage, but that's all I see on Twitter. Not sure what it's about, but it's gotten a lot of publicity. So I'll see if I get into that going forward. But going back to the binge watching, watching TVs, movies. For this episode, I'm going to give, I don't know if it's a review or a reaction, but either way, I'm going to talk about the O.J. Simpson Made in America documentary that aired on ESPN a couple years ago. It's also on ESPN Plus. If anyone wants to subscribe to that, it's a video streaming service. You get all the ESPN documentaries, all the 30 for 30s. It's only $5 a month, and yeah, it's a good deal. That's where you could see this documentary. It's a 5-part documentary as well, so it's pretty long. But instead of giving my reaction, I more wanted to just give my perspective and my overall take on it, and what I most got away from it. What I most kind of took from it, and just a little background on myself. If you're listening, you don't know me. I'm 29, going to be 30 in a couple months. So I obviously didn't see any of O.J. Simpson's playing career. Didn't see his post playing career endeavors. I knew he was a great athlete. Knew he was a big name. Knew about the whole murder case and everything. But after seeing this, I don't think I really understood the scope and the magnitude of how big he was and how idolized he was and how adored and revered this guy was. And in a sense, today I still think he is adored and revered and idolized and all those things. And that's what just kind of drew me into this, is just how mystifying and captivating it is, given he committed this double murder and murdered the mother of his children. And that's really what I just took away from it the most, because it just seemed, in a sense, this man kind of lived the perfect life. He had the money, the fame, the relationships, the looks, the personality, the charisma. He's a person who literally had it all. And to go on to see what he did, it's just truly mind-boggling. It's something I feel very interested in, something I wanted to get off my chest. And one of the scenes the most that struck me and kind of stuck with me was in the last part of the documentary, is part 5. There's this probably like 3-4 minute scene, but it takes place after the trial. I think about 7 years after the trial in 2001, and OJ goes on the Wendy Williams show. Does a I don't know if it was a Wendy Williams show, but it was just a radio interview with her, and he just like won her over, and he just showed off that charm and charisma and just genuineness that he kind of had. And she even said after the interview how she wanted to call him names. She wasn't sure how the interview was gonna go, but he just won her over. And then later in that scene, you just see OJ socializing with some of the commoners. They had video clips of this, and you see him socializing with these older ladies, and you could just see how giddy they were and the excitement and the joy on their face. And there was this one scene where he's at this one clip, he's at an airport with some kid, and he goes, "I've been waiting to meet you my whole life." And there were just some other scenes where you could see how enamored people were with him and how giddy they were to be around him. And one of a journalist who was interviewed, along with the many other people that were interviewed for this, her name was Celia Farber, I think put it best when he would do that, people would call it the OJ effect, and he just had this ability to capture you and win you over with his charm and his charisma, and he took you away from the reality that he murdered two people. And she had a good quote in this. I think she said it best when she said, "I believed he was guilty, but I was also in touch with the fact that I wanted to believe he wasn't guilty." And I think that quote is very telling, because I think it's indicative of how a lot of Americans feel about O.J. Simpson, and how this is a story of the likes I don't think any of us have ever experienced before. And just stuff like that is just what really captivated me. And you could see just how, yes, this man did this horrible crime, and there were some terrible things he did before that too, a lot of domestic violence going on, but you'd like to think there is good in this man. When I was watching it, I felt I wanted to like this guy. I wanted to love this guy like everyone else did. And something else that really sticks out to me is just seeing him on Twitter today. And he's just, the way he tweets, he's just, in the way it looks like he's living his life. He always takes these selfie videos, which I have to admit, I kind of get a kick out of. And at the end, he always says, "I'm just saying, take care." But just little stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It kind of, like I said, captivates me. I know I've been using that word a lot, but he just seems like this normal 70-year-old guy living this happy life, playing golf. I just followed him recently, so I haven't seen how much stuff he's tweeted, but he always does these selfie videos, and he's breaking down NFL moves, and you can see how he's still so passionate about it, and how he knows most of the big name personnel in the league, and he's breaking down free agent moves, transactions, giving his opinion on Tom Brady. And you would think he was qualified to work for ESPN when you look back on that stuff. So that's kind of what I got out of this the most. And I mean, the documentary, it's 5 parts. It hits on so many themes, whether it be racial injustice in Los Angeles or just throughout history. It touches on the riots, the Watts riots, the Rodney King riots, the trial as well. That's obviously a huge component, the 1994-1995 trial. And all that stuff is great. And it's really, the director, Ezra Edelman, really just delves into it and just goes so deep into things. You could tell he really had a passion for this. And there are a lot of graphic images in it. So for those that are the weak at heart, that's also just a little bit of a heads up. But like I said, this is just something I wanted to get off my chest. It's like, where will we ever see something like this again. A guy who was, for all intents and purposes, committed double murder, and yet he's still so revered and beloved. So like I said, I just kind of had to get it off my chest. It's really a story, a narrative I've taken so much of an interest in. I tried to get some people that were on the documentary, tried to get them to talk about this podcast episode because I'm really interested in just talking about it and getting other people's perspective on it. I guess maybe I have one buddy, Joe Mola, who I know is very passionate about it, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I'm just very curious to get other people's perspective on this, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast episode. And I realize this is a very touchy subject. I feel I'll probably, if I do get feedback, I'd love to hear feedback from the older generation, the people that saw his career and saw what he did in his post-playing career. So yeah, that's why I wanted to do this podcast episode. And yeah, if you have an opinion about this, good or bad, I'd love to just converse about it, because it really is a story I've become so interested in, and it just for so many different reasons. But yeah, that wraps it up. I just wanted to voice my opinion, use my voice here, and like I said, just hope everyone's staying healthy, staying safe, listening to the medical experts, and just we got to keep on keeping on. I think that's actually what OJ said in one of his Twitter videos. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for listening, and follow me on Twitter. My handle is at ChrisGrosso16 on Instagram, same thing at ChrisGrosso16. Twitter handle is at Basic Thought Pod. Instagram handle it's at Basic Thoughts Pod. Again, I'm gonna look to do some more material, being that I have a lot of downtime. So I'm trying to get some people in the sports media industry. So maybe next episode we'll try and get back to that again. But thanks so much for listening. Hope everyone stays healthy and stays safe and has a good rest of their week.